Hello, my name is Terry Stanfield. I'm the Director of Public Safety for the City of El Campo. As you probably know, the El Campo City Council has called a $10.5 million bond election for May 9th of this year to pay for a new public safety facility. I will try to share some facts with you, with voters, so that you can make an informed decision. While we're talking about a public safety building, please keep in mind that this is a true 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year facility. The facility never closes. There are people moving in and out, working out of the building non-stop. The building supports the daily operations of our emergency medical service, El Campo Volunteer Fire Department, emergency management, and the El Campo Police Department. It also provides all of our basic needs during an emergency. When an emergency responders have to house in place, such as a major hurricane strike, a flood, or an ice storm, the emergency responders will actually live and sleep out of the public safety building. The original building, which now houses the police department, is over 40 years old. The portion of the building that houses our EMS and El Campo Volunteer Fire Department is over 20 years old. Even though the buildings differ in age, they experience very similar problems. Structural problems is what has brought this to a head, has brought this to the forefront. The slab at our EMS and fire department building began settling. The settling has caused major damage to interior walls, exterior walls, plumbing, ceiling, doors. Took the only shower that we have for the entire public safety facility out of service. There are problems with exterior walls, brick falling off. The lintels above the doors and windows have rusted. Brick ties have rusted. Conduit, pipe, and anchors that are set into the brick have rusted or corroded. Light fixtures are literally falling off the building and onto the ground along with bricks. There are electrical issues, blowing breakers, plumbing issues throughout both buildings. The aging heating, ventilation, and air conditioning concerns that just don't suffice for a 24/7 building. Remember, there are people who actually sleep in the building at night. All of our buildings have been experiencing overcrowding problems. The service at the police department has almost doubled in size since I started 32 years ago. It's the same with our emergency services. Fire trucks are now larger. For an example, a grass truck was once a short wheelbase pickup, single cab. Now it is a crew cab pickup with a long wheelbase. We have some bays in our garage area that won't hold any of our vehicles. They're too small. EMS was once an all-male service. Now we're about 50% male and female. The dorm room was not built for co-ed. Throughout both of our buildings, storerooms, closets have been converted into office space. Over the years, during renovation, locker rooms, storerooms, kitchens, bathrooms were done away with or reduced in size to make more room for the expansion. We lost any and all training or physical fitness areas. Safety has also been a concern over the years. The facility provides little protection for our emergency responders who have to live out of the facility during a major hurricane strike, etc. Our holdover facility, or known as our jail in the police department, is over 40 years old. The renovations over the years, getting an intoxicated or disruptive prisoner in and out of the jail facility is very difficult. There are elevation changes. The hallways are narrow in some places. We have to go through old doorways from past renovations. The jail itself, it sits almost in the center of the building now. We have our offices on both sides of it. It's very difficult for them to have confidential conversation in these offices while we have prisoners in custody. Also, when there's a disruptive prisoner, they can be heard throughout the entire building. We try to keep separation between male and female prisoners. While we can do so with a solid wall, but there is no separation for sound. Also with our juveniles, we process juveniles. We try to keep it as far away from our adult prisoners as we can. It's very difficult in this building. Parking is an issue with all city buildings. It is totally inadequate. Currently, our public safety team members have to park across the street, around the block, sometimes on sidewalks or in driveways, just to find a place to park. And remember, there are people coming in and out of this building 24 hours a day. The problems with the public safety building were brought to our city manager, who communicated to our city council. City council members came over and took one-on-one tours to the facility. and decided enough money had been put into this facility. It was time to take action. They formed a public safety committee to research the problem. The committee consisted of some council members, department heads, and citizens. Once the committee was formed, every member took a tour of the facility. They all came back with a recommendation that something needed to be done. The building needed to be replaced. An architectural firm that specializes in public safety buildings was hired. They brought in a team of engineers to evaluate what we currently have. They also did studies on the space that we should have at this time and space that we might need in the next 40 years. They brought back recommendations to the board. The first option that they looked at was renovation. Renovation of the current buildings was estimated to cost between $5.9 million and $6.7 million. But when the renovations were over, we still had no room for expansion. Renovation would not meet our current space needs. The next option looked at was renovation and some new construction. Either build a new police department, move the police department out, or move EMS out and renovate the building. This also was found to be too expensive. The estimated cost were $6.4 million to $7.8 million. And then the option of new construction, doing away with everything, all the buildings that are currently here, and building one new multi-story building to fit all of our needs. While this would give us the space that we needed today, it was difficult to say if it would help, if the space would be there for 40 years of growth. That was estimated to cost between $9 million and $11.6 million. And please keep in mind, none of these estimates took into account relocation expenses while the construction was taking place. The best option was to build a new public safety building for all the services at a new site. At this point, a search for land began. We needed almost 4 acres, 3+ acres for our footprint for the building. The first option that was looked at was try to find some of the dilapidated or old property around the city, clean it up and put a new building in there. However, this was found to be way too expensive and we could not find any property that really fit the footprint. When demolition costs were added to it, it just took it off the table. The search continued. We looked for property that had good access to all parts of the city and the county, that was easy for our emergency vehicles to move about, and we kept going back to West Loop. We searched for some property on West Loop. The Triska family owned about 4 acres of land, and they sold it to the city at a very reasonable cost. Design of the building then began. The building design would not only meet today's needs, be a much more secure facility, but it is estimated that it will meet our needs for the next 40+ years. The original estimate was $8.5 million. Once the building was actually got into the design phase and possibly a floor plan, the cost estimator came in with a $10.5 million figure. Around $10 million for the building, and then $500,000 to demolish the old buildings that would be left here at our current site and rehabilitate the property. Now, the new facility, like I said, it is designed to get us for the next 40 years. It will meet our needs today during any kind of a major event. And we've even looked at the possibility that there may be a day that we don't have a volunteer fire department that we're required to go to a paid fire department. The facility has taken this into consideration. What will this cost our taxpayers? Using the current estimates, and these are only estimates, the average taxpayer would be 8.5 to 10.5 cents per $100 of value, property value. Now this is going to could vary greatly. The actual cost may not come in at $10.5 million. These are only estimates. This project has not been put out for bid. Our tax base is changing every day. There's currently construction, new Stripe store, new convenience store, a new restaurant in El Campo. So the tax base is going to change every year. And there are other revenue sources that will be researched. If you need additional information to make a good informed vote, please contact myself here at the Police Department, 979-543-5311. And I will return your phone call, and myself or Assistant Chief Gary Williamson or our EMS Director Chase Nelson will get in contact with you If you have an organization or a group of people, we'll come give you a presentation. If you have the time and you would like to see firsthand, we'll take you on a tour of this building. One thing that did take place while all this research was happening was the people who toured the building immediately turned to me and said, well, wow, we had no idea. Seeing is believing. So thank you for your time.